were so sick of all the angry bands, we were so sick of all the sad bands, we wanted to really put ourselves out there and challenge the way people think. Like, my zipper's probably down. Actually, it's not.
He's like, no close-ups.
It's actually not. Blow-up dolls are funny. They blow them up and they pop, whatever, they throw them around. But these things are like $5,000, $6,000, and these are rad.
Alexis on fire.
Wolf Mother, Finger 11.
Anti-flag.
Lily Allen.
Chaos.
And you're watching the Adlercast.
In 2005, Blink-182 fans all over the world freaked out, fearing they would never get a chance to see their favorite band perform together again. Blink had gone on an indefinite hiatus after a very successful 13 years. Well, it's 2009 right now, and guess what? Blink is back. I had a conversation with Tom Delonge just weeks before the announcement came out, and we talked all about Blink-182, Angels&airwaves, and blow-up dolls meant for doing it. My name is Brian Adler, and here's my interview with Tom Delonge on the Adlercast. So Tom, how are you, man? Welcome back to Vancouver.
Well, thank you for having me.
When's the last time you were here?
It was right before they dug this hole. And I said, I'm going to be back here soon. And I handed a couple shovels off to some people, and it's great. They've just done a magnificent job here.
Both of the records that you put out kind of explore the concept of if you can look at the world in a different way, maybe you can change the world. And I wonder if you can talk about that idea a little bit.
Yeah, you know, I think that this time in the world, I think it's very chic to be an environmentalist. And I think it's kind of popular to be looking inward a little bit for the first time. I think for a long time people would say that you can't be selfish or you can't look at yourself. You always got to look at others. But I think looking inward sometimes is what makes the world a better place. Now, granted, we all come from punk rock bands, but punk rock bands were all about doing it yourself and having some sort of rebellion around the environment around you. And so I think with this band, what we wanted to do is we were so sick of all the angry bands, we were so sick of all the sad bands, we wanted to really put ourselves out there and challenge the way people think. And a lot like the punk rock bands did when we were younger with politics, we just kind of did it with self-expression and just philosophy, I guess. So we made a couple of records that go together that really challenge you to look at yourself differently in the world around you. And I think it totally clicked, you know, it worked.
I find that a lot of people who are optimistic are often the happier people that I know. Would you consider yourself an optimistic guy? Are you an optimistic guy? Are you a happy guy?
Yeah, I think both. I've always been a pretty strong optimist, you know. I think that I always say that there's never like an obstacle. There's always just different paths to get there. I think if if you wanted a job really bad and they told you they're not going to hire you, that's not the end of the world. It's probably because you're going to get called the next day for something, you know. You got to believe that. And listen to me, I'm like Tony Robbins. I'm like a self-help guru. This is great.
And you are very tall as well.
Yeah, I'm wearing heels.
Are you a guy that believes that everything happens for a reason?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in this band, it's like magical. Like the shit that goes on in this band is like everything happens perfectly. I mean, and there's a lot of things that happen that we weren't expecting or didn't want to happen, then all of a sudden the next day, it's insane.
Is there a specific example that comes to mind when you say that?
Well, 6 months ago, I mean, even 6 months ago, we were like, I remember we were trying to hedge our way to get on a Foo Fighters tour, and it didn't work out. And so we went on the Warped Tour, and then all of a sudden we got this Weezer tour just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And what that means for a band, at least for us, is we got to play in front of 20,000 teenagers a day, and now we get to go into an arena and play with people our own age, you know, which is rad. But for a young band like ourselves, it worked out to be the best thing in the world. Because now we get to play to people in 4 decades of age, you know, teenagers, 20s, 30s, and 40s. It's pretty rad, you know, so it couldn't have been better. Being so young and so fearless and going out in front of like 20,000 people or 15,000 people at night and just like normal. Like, what's normal about that? Angels&airwaves is very cinematic and theatrical, and our show is put together to where it takes people on a very arc of a ride.